New Orleans Saints on the road at the Seattle Seahawks. Welcome to the second leg of America's teaser. 7.5 in favor of Seattle. 41.5 is our total here in this one. Everybody is going to have Seattle as your second leg of the teaser this week. Seattle likely to be the most popular pick in all survivor pools as well. A little bit on the survivor angle here, Noops, with that. In my opinion, I know there's a lot of people out there who try to play these pools and say, like, well, I don't want to take the most popular pick. And I can understand from a game theory perspective how you would try to, if at all possible, maybe zig where other people are zagging. I will also say there's not another spot that you're going to feel comfortable using Seattle for the rest of the season. And so you can try and avoid them this week and say, like, well, I don't want to play them because everyone's playing them. But you've now also discarded a team that you can't use basically the rest of the season. And so it's different when there is another team that you feel good about using. It's different when you have a spot later in the season that you feel good about using said team if you're going to discard them. But this week, you're basically putting Seattle in the pile of teams that you're not going to use all season long. And I do think that actually puts you kind of at a little bit of a disadvantage. And so, I have 10 still left over in Circa. I'm going to play 6 on Seattle and 4 on Atlanta. Again, I just can't. I don't want to waste, and I say waste, like I don't want to waste Seattle here at home against New Orleans coming back. And while Darnold's playing pretty well and this team looks like okay. So, again, that's my spiel there on the survivor angle of this thing.
Yeah, I think you've hit the nail on the head. This is by far my favorite survivor selection of the week, not just because this is really the only time you use Seattle. And it sounds kind of crazy to try to talk about how good the Seahawks are, but there's not really another great spot for them. But it just speaks to how tough their schedule is. Any team that they're going to be much better at, they're on the road. Teams that they're playing at home, now we'll see what happens. They've got a game against Minnesota. They do go to Tennessee late in the season. We'll see if the Colts are still pretty good once we get to that game at the end of the year. But this is just an awesome spot. And another thing with Survivor is it's week 3, guys. We don't have to get creative yet. This isn't the time. This isn't the moment where you're not going to win in Survivor week 3 just because you're the only one that went on Seattle. We're still trying to survive. That is the name of the game, right? We're trying to take teams that are going to win. This is an awesome spot for Seattle. They're back at home. We've got a New Orleans Saints team on the road. It's going to be a really tough spot for Spencer Rattler and that offense going up against the Seahawks defense that has been tremendous. I think that the Seattle defense is probably one of the more underrated units in the league at this point, just simply because they're not talking about them among the very best defenses in the NFL. That's where I have them. I think that they're without a doubt in that top tier. They should be able to control this game, dictate the pace of it. Sam Darnold, I was a little disappointed to see him turn the ball over a bit last week, but probably spent all week watching that film, learning how not to do that. I just think this is a fantastic spot. We're going to see Seattle play another good game at home. They're comfortable there. I love Seattle. They're going to be my pick in just about every survivor pool I have, except for maybe a couple of the bigger ones. I'll try to, maybe do something a little bit smaller, but no need to get cute, folks. Seattle is winning this game. I love them in Survivor. And I like a Saints team total under here. It's 16.5. I mean, this offense is just absolutely putrid. I know they were able to score 3 touchdowns last week, but not against a defense nearly as good as what we'll see in Seattle. So give me the Seahawks in Survivor and give me a Saints team total under 16.5.
This Saints secondary has really struggled so far this year as well. I think Jackson Smith-Njigba has proven himself to be worthy of a number 1 wide receiver role now that DK Metcalf is out of town. If you're playing DFS out there, I think an interesting spot, for JSN, I would be looking at him. I know that you can find a 73.5 out there in the receiving market. This wouldn't surprise me. I know we too often, it's kind of the catchy thing right now for people in our industry to be like, oh, ladder this. But I mean, JSN right here playing 80 plus, 90 plus, 100 plus on him against this Saints team, I think is a pretty decent play. I mean, this guy we talked about this coming out of the draft. His teammate said he was the best receiver on the team. This was a team that had other first rounders out there with him, and I think he's really starting to show that here, Noops. And I think JSN, this could be kind of the like, oh, JSN is like the truth game. Like, I think he might could go absolutely nuclear in this thing.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's should be a fantastic matchup for him. I guess the only thing holding me back is if it's a Seattle blowout, does he maybe get a little bit of a rest in the fourth quarter? So that's the only thing holding me back. But I agree. I love JSN. I think he is absolutely one of the most underrated receivers in the league at this point.